One of the great things I notice about AA is we are constantly replenishing our stock. There's always a new crop of great people coming along. I've been blessed in that I was around when Joe and Charlie were around, and Mark Houston and some of those other guys. And then there's the later generation with Chris Schroeder and the Myers, the Raymer brothers. And now we have today Terry F., who's one of, as far as I'm concerned, the leading individuals in that new crop of people coming up who will be here for the next, God willing, 40 years, long after I'm gone. So it's the future of AA. I give you Terry F.
I'm speechless, Howard. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Someone gave me Howard's number one day because I wanted him to come share my meeting, but I was too scared to call him because I thought he was an inspiration to me and so many other people. So um, then I called him. I found out he's just like me. He's my twin. Right. Thanks, man. Thanks for the kind words. It's an honor to be back with you guys. A privilege to be back here and being part of your lives. So thank you. I'm in We Agnostics. I guess I read the page, right? The chapter or the paragraph. Oof, I'm off today. Watch, I'll heat up towards the end. I always do that. We're on page 55, paragraph 5. In this book, you will read the experience of a man who thought he was an atheist. His story is so interesting that some of it should be told now. His change of heart was dramatic, convincing, and moving. My name is Terry. I'm an alcoholic. Sobriety date's June 1st, 2019, and a miracle happened on that day. And the best way I could describe that miracle is that the gift of desperation screamed loud, and the craving that was beyond my mental control. I didn't quit drinking. I was separated. And I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, the phenomenon of craving is so powerful, right? Some people would rather commit the supreme sacrifice rather than continue to fight. I was drinking when I was separated. Don't underestimate the power of God. Just don't. I was in my car when I was separated with a flask in my hand and the white witch in the other, and I was separated, and then I said I was done. That little whisper deep down within you, we talked about that last week. It screams. It screamed at me. And I listened. Thank God I listened when the time was right. Um, Hold on, my kids come in. Hey, buddy. Can you grab him for a second? Thanks. Um, where was I? I got a home group. Home group. I have an in-person home group. It's in Yonkers, New York. It's called the Bailey's Group. We go through the big book, line by line, and share our experience on the text. We also meet 6:30 on Friday nights. So if you're around the area, come by. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, this paragraph just kind of shook me because I didn't really know what the hell an atheist was, or I didn't even know what an agnostic was when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous. But um, kind of going through We Agnostics, it really kind of proved to me that there really is no such thing as an atheist because we've always believed in ourselves. That's basically what that chapter is setting me up for, and it's telling me I've always had faith in my life, right? Oh, what a mental state of gooseflesh. I always wanted to say that in the talk. Basically means I get goosebumps. But I've always believed in the God of reason. I've always believed in my mind. I've always had faith in something. Think about it. I mean, like when you're taking a shower, you have faith that when you turn on the knob, water's gonna come on. I have faith that when I go log on to here that 203 and 530 and the rest of the numbers I'm gonna get onto Zoom, or I have faith that that when my son comes into the room barging in here, he's gonna try and grab my phone right now. Which he didn't, but wow, I guess my faith was off. I have faith that when I get, go to work for 2 weeks, I'm gonna get paid on the every Wednesday. I have faith. I've been living by faith all along. I just didn't know it. Thank God I have this awareness today. I woke up. 12 steps says having had a spiritual awakening as a result of the steps. That means that I've been asleep. And finally, thank God I woke up at the right time. If you could hear a baby screaming, you have to be his daddy. Hold on one second, guys. Is he okay? That's what I sounded like when I was getting sober. I was a thumb sucking crybaby when I got here, man. Oh my God. It's wild because when you have this change of heart, that's what it talks about in this paragraph. It's another reference to a spiritual experience. It also in the chapter 2 employers, it says change of heart. I believe it's on page 143. I'm not specifically sure. You guys gonna have to cross-check me on that. And that word change is mentioned, I believe, maybe 8 or 9 times. You could also cross-reference that, probably more or less, but it's mentioned a lot in the appendix 2 of a spiritual experience. And when I look at that word change, this is my opinion, take it or leave it, right? What I believe it means is to have transformation. We're in the transformation business here. I've had a transformation of thought, mind, body, and spirit. And think about that, like my friend John McDoug from Minnesota, he was my spiritual mentor. He was the director at Hazleton for 20 years. He left because insurance companies came in and they tried taking over to treat, drugs with drugs, or, you get the point. But he went to the retreat. That's where I was at, which was a non-clinical deal. And what he talked about in his book, and also how he explained to me, is that look at the Holy Cross. The Holy Cross about 5,000 years ago was a tool for torture. It was a tool to put people to their demise, or to kill them or hurt them. And then all of a sudden, now look at it today. Look at its transformation today. We have Blue Cross, we have Red Cross, we have the Holy Cross. You got J Money on there, right? It has a complete change in its identity. It had a complete change in its mind, body, and spirit. That's what we're doing here. I say this all the time in my talks. I'm 1,000% convinced that God has a successful recycling business. I truly am. He takes trash, he turns it into treasure. He really does. He took me, this this piece of trash, this tornado roaring through the lives of others, this victim of delusions and illusions, an unlovely creature, and he transformed me. He transformed me into a father who has only missed 3 days of my son's life. Right? I've been with him every single day, morning, afternoon, and night. You know, I've been with him when he first took his first poop. I was there when I was there. My wife was so pissed about this. I was there when he first walked. I got on camera too. You know, I was there when he said "dad, dad." I was there when he first started to dance. You know, I was there, mind, body, and spirit all interlocked together, chilling in the fourth dimension, living from moment to moment. And that's a transformation that you would have never expected me 6 years ago to show up for any of you. You know, I mean, I was like that person who'd be sitting in the corner crying. Why does everybody hate me? Why I hate my life? I'm also a recovered self-pity holic, right? You know, I, I was one of those cats. But I had a change of heart. It started through. You think about it. The spiritual awakening as a result of the steps. Um, they're talking about Fitzhugh and it's funny because I got a sponsee that has a similar name. I would always call him by that name, and I always make a joke that he's the great great granddad or great grandson of Fitzhugh, but he's not. Just kidding, Jk. but he no longer speaks to me. I don't know where he is. And it's fascinating because last night, and it's weird how I'm talking about this right now. This just happened last night. I had a dream about him. I had a dream about how have you been, where have you been? We just bumped into each other. I'm like, are you okay? You know, I'm thinking about him and what's going on with him. How can I help him? What did I do wrong? What's going on within your life? Are you, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking about you. I'm being considerate, and I look in and I never was it considered to anyone else. I lived a life of rigorous inconsideration. Like I could care less about you or anything else. I cared about me. And I love the four step, the four step, the sex conduct showed me my patterns of inconsideration. Yesterday I take the ideals out of I try to strive to become the ideals, my sexual or relationship ideals. And yesterday I was practicing unselfishness and love and tolerance. Um, and if no one understands what the hell I'm talking about, have someone who's armed with the facts about himself, meaning that they took the steps and they have a working knowledge of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and they also have the working knowledge of the medical facts of alcoholism as well. You know, ask them about that. Ask them about a 9-question inventory on page 69 of our Big Book. You know, I take this. I thought, I told everybody, Bobby, what's up, Bobby? I just saw you last week, bro. What's up, man? Bobby was at the meeting that we were at for last Friday, man. What a pleasant surprise to see you, dude. Man, dude was sitting right across from me, and I get to hang out with him. Um, where was I going at? All right. Oh yeah, 9 questions. And for a long time, and I was talking about this last week when Bobby was there. I said a spiritual experience has an expiration date. And what does that mean? Is that the ego can become extremely spiritual really fast, everybody. This change of heart has to be continuous, has to be growth. Maintenance, 1930s definition of maintenance means to keep going, but I also need to grow and maintain this spiritual experience. And what happens is that the ego will take on a new face, which is like the spiritual man, Mr. AA, Mr. AA sponsor, you know, Mr. Terry the husband, Terry the father, Terry, these are all identities who I am, but these are just somewhat type of the roles that I do as I go and I play God, and these are the minions that talk to me in my own head. And I remember someone asked me a question, who is the most important relationship in your life? And you know what I said, Howard? I had the audacity to say this. I said, God is the most important relationship in my life. This is what I said. What a selfish way to talk. We're talking about change of heart here, right? And thank God, someone who is just armed with the facts and armed with experience, not with opinions, with an experience, and said, "Oh, really? Well, Terry, ever used the 9 questions in the sexual conduct inventory that's founded on page 69 of our big book on your relationship with God?" And I was like, "No." And then when I actually sat down and wrote it out, I found out I was a crappy friend. I was, I mean, I would wake up in the morning and spend about tops, tops for about 3 years, 5 minutes with God. And then it's Terry's show for the rest of the day. And I'll tell you that God has saved my life, that God changed me, and God is this, and God is love. And I could go on and on and on. It was all lip service about this relationship with this power which has changed my heart, that has transformed my heart. I can't tell you through an intellectual exercise. I can only tell you through an actual experience. I take page 53 of the big book and I use a lot of spiritual exercises which I learned from Mark Houston's Sponsee, and one of them is if God is everything, that also means he's in the nothing. So that means go find God in everything that you do. That's a spiritual exercise. I highly recommend everybody write this down. Go seek God in everything you do. Check this out. Go find God while you're driving. Go find God while you're at work. Go find God while you're using the restroom. Go find God while you're in the bedroom. Go find God while you're in the shower. Go find God while you're with your family. Go find God while you're hanging out with your dreaded in-laws. Go find God. Go find God. And all of a sudden you start to care and start to love people who are unlovable. I mean, I remember my wife was yelling at me about the dishes, and I was practicing go find God and everything, and I was also practicing cease fighting anything or anyone. There's about 12 spiritual exercises in step 10. If you guys want me to, if you guys want the list or whatever, just hit me up. I'll send it over to you. And one of them is to practice cease fighting everything and anyone, including alcohol, and that also includes myself. And I remember I was doing the dishes and my wife was yelling at me about the dishes. And I was just like, cease fighting. Go find God and everything. Go find. This is a complete change of heart. Think about how I'm reacting to life now. I'm no longer being driven. I'm no longer asleep. I'm awake. I'm thinking about God in the morning, at night, and all throughout the day, 3 times a day, all the time. And this only was given to me just recently in the last 2.5 years when I just woke up. I mean, I took that workshop with my sponsor, and then I asked him to sponsor me, and then he just took me to a new level. Even with We Agnostics, with page 50, was it 47? Do I believe, or am I even willing to believe there's a power greater than myself? That's a step 2 question, or yeah. But everybody who is here, and if you're like me at all, I'm an agnostically inclined individual. You know, I revert back to me a lot. It's changes. It's drifting towards God more and more every single day. I try to aim for the perfection, which is God, by these spiritual exercises and these practices because of these exercises. Like I said, what you practice grows stronger. What you practice, like it's like learning an instrument, like learning a language. It becomes automatic, like it says in the 10 step. And I was given this thing with that sentence, or that question, and take it to a new level, because I recommend that everyone try this out. And if you want to write it down, go ahead. I don't know why my cat's about to attack me right now. Get away, buddy. Do I believe, which is for the agnostic, or am I even willing to believe, which is for the atheist, that there is a power greater than myself that could take me to a new level of freedom? That could take me to a new level of freedom. How free do I want to be? Complacency is right up there with resentment. This book was written when Bill had 4 or 5 years sober. Of course, resentment's the number one damn offender. But talk to anyone who's been part of the long timer game, right? And ask them about complacency. Talk about perseverance. Look at page 100, one of my favorite pages in the big book. Do I really want to persevere and put everything into the loving hands of this higher power on a day-to-day basis and grow up? That's what's happening here. We're like little babies when we come in here. I was a factory worker when I was. This is a change of heart situation. I was given and I take people through the steps in many different ways. I meet them where they're at. That was never the case before. I would take them through the process so quickly that I was on to the next one, on to the next one, which is great. Like, I love the window of opportunity. What my boy Howard talks about, it shrinks super fast. Like that. I mean, matter of hours sometimes, matter of one day. Man, it matter during the 4th step, the 5th step, 9th step, whatever. It doesn't it goes by quick. And I think honestly, I'm getting to the point where I truly believe that people drink or use outside substances again is because they're not done. I'm just kind of getting to that point that they haven't got what my friend in California says, a WWA, a well whooped ass, right? That's the only time I'm gonna curse, Howard. I was good, right? But think about when we take someone to the book, and think about your own experience, right? Um, take these people so fast, but I was always on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next. I don't even know who their names are. I don't even know who they are. I don't even know where they're from. I was just thinking about oh, I can help this person. This is the right thing to do because I learned it from him, and this is what it's been proven to work, and blah blah blah. And I was just so close-minded off to other methods to take people through the steps. I was doing like that. It's like my baby's crib. It's right here, you know. It's like imagine if my kid was taking a little nap and I wake him up, and then I walk away like bye bye, peace. That's what I was doing to people. I wasn't walking hand in hand and shoulder to shoulder with these people. I was looking at them like selfishly, like you're helping me by me helping you, and I'm gonna get you to the steps. Boom, I'm on to the next one, right? And then what happened? I learned from that, and I started to slow down really too much. And then what happened? They're drunk by Bill's story. It's like, what the hell's going on here? And then what I had to change, what was going on? I wasn't relying on this power anymore. I was relying on my mind to take people through the steps. And I asked God, I was like, what should I do? And God gave me this pretty clear picture. Trust in me, and I'll show you the way. So I asked God to show me the way just right before talking today. I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about today. That ship sailed a long time ago where I used to have notes right here and say really cool stuff in front of all you people, and you wouldn't even notice that my notes were there because it's not on camera. That's who I was before, but I've had a change of heart. You know, these spiritual experiences happen to me all the time. I don't even realize it until someone actually shows it to me. No, I did. I recommend whenever you do a fifth step. This is a new advanced, not advanced, but I recommend that you do it. Is that when you do a fifth step, do it with someone, with your sponsor. Do it with your sponsees. Do another one with someone in a cloth. You know, do it to someone randomly that you know, that is what it is. They have the requirements for that. Was it and understand what we're doing, and a closed mouth individual, stuff like that. And I remember I was doing this fifth step with my sponsee, and this is the first sponsee. He's great. He does 12-step workshops. He started multiple meetings. He has like a huge sponsorship line now. He's the first sponsee that stayed sober. He's coming up on 5 years in December. And I read out loud my fifth step to him, and he's like, "Damn, Terry, I didn't realize how effed up you were, quote unquote." You know, like some people don't realize, they look at me like I am someone who is holier than thou, or someone who is on a spiritual mountaintop, or someone who people are scared to talk. I'm just another drunk. I'm just another person who listened at the right time and took action, you know, when the time was right. God is constantly talking to us all. How do I react to it? Do I listen, or do I just walk through life just thinking I'm awake, dreaming I'm awake? Do I want more? Do I want to be placed into this position of neutrality on a daily basis? Because I get off. I'm not perfect. I strive for perfection, but I thank God I'm a flawed individual. I was just talking to someone 3 days ago. 3 days ago, he called me up randomly. Hold on, let me just get the cat out of here. Come here, buddy. Randomly just called me up out of nowhere. And he would always call me up and give me praises all the time. When are you speaking? When are you doing this? And I just got kind of sick of it. And I kind of ignored his calls for a little while. Then he would out answer the phone, going back to the praise. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." Just kind of, yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Blah, blah, blah. He called me up on Saturday night. I'm giving my kid a bath. And for some odd reason, he was calling. I'm looking at my phone like, this was 3 days ago. Mr. Terry, Mr. AA convention speaker. I was like, ugh. And I answered the call. This guy was thinking about killing himself in that very moment. And he has bipolar disorder. He's on pain medication, but he doesn't want to take pain medicine. Guys, he has 46 years sober. I'm going to say that one more time. He has 46 years sober. And he's thinking about killing himself. I'm going to say it one more time. He has 46 years sober. I don't give a crap about how much time you have. If you wear that badge like you walk into a meeting, I got 5 years sober, 10 years sober. You ain't nobody. All we got is right here, right now. What's your experience right here, right now? Are you in the moment, or are you just thinking about I'm better than you? Because if I think that I'm 1% better than you or 1% less than you, I'm in danger to drink again. Straight up. I listened to him. I asked God, I was like, shit, I don't know how to deal with something like this. God just said, listen, I'm listening. He's venting, he's talking. And I just like, look, man, like you have clarity, you have optimism right now. Why don't I recommend that you just, talk to other people about this recommendation as well? So you don't just listen to me, right? And why don't you touch base with a doctor and see what would be best if you could check yourself into a place now where you're safe, where you have optimism, where you have faith, where you have hope, right? Because you don't want to wait until Monday and you won't see him Monday. And he listened. That didn't come from me. I asked God to speak in and through me. That's a change of heart. If you caught me, if it was someone who called me 5 years ago with that type of question or that type of comment or statement, I would tell him what to do. Left here, left, right, up, down. I'll tell him all sorts of things. Based on what? Living up here, thinking I know everything. Instead, I went to God because I didn't know how to answer that question.